We're going to go super slow, and I'm going to teach you everything I know about the magic ring so you can learn to love it. Now the first thing you're going to do, and this is right-handed, I am a right-handed person, so when I say right and left hand, I mean for our right-handed friends. I'm going to take the cut end of the yarn, we call that the tail, and I'm going to leave, looks like 4 or 5 inches. I'm going to take this yarn that is attached to the ball, we call that the working yarn. I'm going to take it over my index finger. Now you'll notice there is some space between my index finger and my middle finger. We need that space. You can also see that I'm using my thumb to hold the tail down so I don't lose track of it. So I'm going over my index finger, under my middle finger, and then over my index finger again. Now what do I do with this? It can't just hang out in the breeze. You may find a way that's more comfortable for you, but what I do is I use my pinky finger to hold that down. It doesn't, you can see it's popping out right here between my pinky finger and my ring finger. It doesn't need a whole lot of effort. It just needs to be sturdy enough so we can make our magic ring comfortably. So you see what I have here is an X. Bottom left, top right, bottom right, top left. So I'm going to take my crochet hook. I'm going to go under the top right leg of the X. Now I'm going to grab the top left leg and I'm going to angle my hook down so it's easy to grab. Grab, 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 and pull through. Let's do that one more time. Here's my tail, over my index, under my middle, over my index, right? Use my pinky finger to hold it in place. So the tail is floating in the breeze here and my thumb is keeping it out of the way. I have this nice big X going on between my index finger and my middle finger, and I have some space in here so I can work. And then this is what it looks like on the back. And my pinky finger is keeping the working yarn secure in its place. So now I'm going to take my hook. I'm going to go under the top right leg of the X. I'm going to angle my hook down and grab the top left leg of the X and pull it through. So now I have a loop on my hook. I'm going to let go of the working yarn. Pull that out of the way. So this is what it looks like. You can see I have 2 fingers in there still. So now I'm going to use my right hand. I'm going to hold on to the ring and get my fingers out of the way. The very next thing I'm going to do is make a chain 1. I would say 99.9% of the patterns you read are going to say magic ring chain 1. And that's because putting that chain 1 on here holds that ring together. Now you can see I can completely let it go, pick it back up. It's not going to come undone. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of people, is it comes undone. Now the only thing I want to do before I move on is I want to pull this little tail out of the way. The twist makes it ever so slightly harder to tighten up later, so I just want to get rid of it. So now I'm going to crochet into the ring. I am going to put 6 single crochet into the ring. You will do however many your pattern says. And I'm crocheting over these 2 strands. So I'm inserting my hook into the ring, yarn over, draw it through the ring. I have 2 loops on my hook, 1, 2, yarn over and draw through 2. So it's a plain old single crochet that you probably already know, that you've done a million times, but you're doing it into a ring instead of into an existing stitch. Let's do that again. Into the ring, yarn over, draw up a loop, bring that loop through the ring, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's 2 single crochets. 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Now, the next thing that I want to do is take these 6 stitches and form them into a round. So I'm going to count, make sure I have 6, and I'm counting these little loops on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so I'm good. Your pattern might have a different number. 6 is traditional, but you know, you're going to follow along with the pattern if you're following along with a pattern. So I'm going to just extend that loop and get that out of the way so you can really see what I'm doing. So with my right hand, I'm going to hold onto the stitches that I made. I want a firm grip. I don't want it to pull out of my hands, but I don't want a death grip, because if I hold onto it too tight, it's going to be hard to get my round. Then with my left hand, I'm going to take my tail and pull. Now watch this strand right here. You can see it going into the stitches. Do you see it? Pull, 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 pull. And you can pull really super tight. There we go. So I have basically no opening in the center. Now I'm going to put this tail aside. We're going to talk more about it in a little bit. And whether your pattern tells you to or not, I'm here to tell you. It's a good idea to put a locking stitch marker on the last stitch of your round and move it up for every round so you know where your round begins and ends. So, I undid my single crochet. That's what happens when I'm talking and not paying attention. So say for example, my pattern said to put 2 single crochets in each single crochet in the next round. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the next round. That first one's going to be a little bit snug, and that's because we pulled so hard on that tail. But from here on out, I can just follow along with whatever pattern I'm doing and work in the round. Now, another thing I want to point out. See how that's coming loose a little bit? That's really okay. It's going to do it because of the tension on the stitches. However, I saw a video where somebody made a beautiful hexagon cardigan, and she wove, she started with a magic ring on both sides, and she just trimmed the yarn right there. And so the first time she wore the sweater, of course, it all ripped out. Because even though our magic ring is nice and secure to stitch into, we still have to weave in the ends to make it secure. So what I like to do, and again, you may have your own way of doing it, but my way is I like to try and get through those stitches one more time and pull really tight to keep that opening nice and snug. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way that I do it. But I feel like that's really super secure. And then I like to turn back and go in the other direction. Just a little bit. And of course, if I weave in the end after I have a lot of rounds on it, I could weave into another round. I wouldn't have to weave into the first round. Now I can trim my thread off. That is going nowhere. I don't have to worry about that coming undone. Last thing I want to mention, if you're still with me, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and check out all our other crochet videos because I love that you're here. When would I use the magic ring as opposed to, say, chain 3 or chain 4 and join into a ring? I like the magic ring for hats and for amigurumi especially, when I want that central opening to be invisible. If I want this to be super, super tight and snug, that's when I prefer the magic ring. Now, if I was making a granny square, for example, and I wanted my opening, my center opening, to be open to mirror the other openings in the piece, I could use a magic ring here and just not pull it as tight. But for me personally, for this kind of a finish, I tend to use chain 3, chain 4, whatever, and join with a slip stitch in the first chain to make a ring and work into that so that it keeps the opening the same size as the other openings. But you can use a magic ring here, just don't pull it as tight. You don't pull it so that there's no space in the center. You pull that tail until you get the size that you want, move on with your piece, and then you would weave it in just like we did. So thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you again here real soon. Bye-bye.